we switched angles. First of all, welcome to our humble abode.
Yes, this is our new home. We still haven't finished the wall, so like I love this picture, but I need to add to it because the wall is so big and the photo is not that big. Sorry, the painting is not that big, so I'm adding to it.
It's a photo.
Don't judge me.
We took it ourselves.
Of Buddha.
Yeah, of Buddha.
Yeah. Anyway,
back to the discussion.
Back to the discussion, the serious discussion. But yeah, so my view on divorce now. Isaac and I had, when we got together, because he knew about...
We're together.
Oh, shut up. You know, he knew how traumatizing it was for me, the divorce. And he had actually grown up in a family of divorce.
Of divorcees.
Of divorces, yeah. So he knows how difficult it is as a child to experience that. And he's also seen and heard what I had to experience after my divorce, being in the Indian community. So we both know how tough it is. It's traumatizing in so many ways, not just for the person wanting the divorce, the person who's getting, who's the other partner as well.
It affects everybody around you.
The families, it affects everyone. Right. So it's not an easy decision to make, and it shouldn't be made lightly, is my opinion. And I know when I was going through it, I sought out people who maybe had experienced something similar, who had gone through a divorce, and would just tell me, this is the thing you need to do. You need to get a divorce. This is your way out. I wanted someone to tell me what to do. But that's the easy thing to do, right? But the hard work is to figure out for yourself and to make that decision on your own. Is divorce really right for you?
And it's a hard decision. It really
so hard. I remember sitting in therapy. So one of the decisions I made, I knew getting a divorce wasn't something to take lightly. And of course, being in the Indian community, it's even more pressure. So I never wanted to disappoint my family or hurt my partner or hurt my partner's family, and everyone else would think, whoever else would find out about it. I was, it was overwhelming how much pressure I felt at that time. So I said, okay, I'm gonna try therapy and see how that goes and just kind of explore and see what I find out. So I went to a few therapists actually, and 2 of them did not like, and then finally found one that I really loved, and we can go over another time what to look for in a really good therapist. But yeah, so during therapy, he would ask me some really tough questions, and I had to be extremely honest with myself. And in order to do that, I had to block out what everyone else was saying, what they thought was right, what they thought was wrong, whatever their opinion was on my life. I had to figure it out for myself. I had to answer those questions on my own and do the hard work. I had to look at the things I was doing wrong, look at the things, not just about my partner, I kept wanting to blame my partner almost as a scapegoat. Because that was the easy thing to do. I'm just unhappy. He's this way. He's that way. He's whatever. He's a great human being. At the end of the day, it was about me.
You're right. You start to almost like demonize your partner.
Yes.
And try to make it all about them and their faults rather than actually looking at your own. So I've never been divorced, and never will be. But. This has come up a lot because Shilpa still deals with a lot of the trauma of being divorced and having to go through all that hurt and pain, especially dealing with her family and dealing, with her ex. And a lot of the stuff that comes up is, just a lot of the things that we work through. But I think some of the questions that have constantly come up are the why questions. Why did you get divorced? Why was that the only option that you had? Why were you being steered towards that? And then actually taking a look at yourself, really, because all those questions really are all about you. Like you said, I think you blinked out a lot of what your ex was doing or what your ex was, putting on you, any pressures from your family or anything like that. but you really have to go through and understand yourself first, and understand where you were when you made the decision first in getting in a relationship, and then understand why divorce is the option, is the only option, or is the final option for you. Because like love and marriage is hard work. It is
Hard work.
It's extremely hard.
Yeah, so for example, with Isaac and I feel like I say your name like so fopmy.
With Isaac and I.
But yeah, so with us, we spent a week and a half together, and then the rest of the time you were in Korea, I was in LA, and maybe we had spent another total of a month together after that, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, really, really hard. Really hard. We had to learn how to communicate, but that's the thing. So the key to any relationship, which I sucked at before, because I was never taught it. I never had an example of good communication, good communicators. Just did not happen. So in my last marriage, I was horrible at it, and we did not have those good communication skills that are required in a healthy relationship. So because I learned from my faults, the mistakes that I had made prior, I knew in this relationship I want to be 100% honest. You are going to know every dirty little detail. You're going to know any stupid thought in my mind, any thought that might even hurt you. You're going to hear about it. And sometimes I still get scared and refrain, and then you're like, no, I need to hear it, which I really appreciate, because you help really reinforce the importance of transparency.
Which, and if that's something that you're dealing with, opening up to your partner, then that's a first problem that you can attack.
Yes.
Is, hey, I don't feel, tell your partner and be honest. Hey, I don't feel like I can talk to you. Yeah. I don't feel like I am allowed to be open and honest with you, and I want to be. And so you have to make the decision to try to be, and see if it works out, and if it and then go back and forth and honestly say to each other the things you're feeling, the things that your partner that you think that your partner can do better at. But you also have to understand that your own faults.
You have to own your shit.
You have to own your shit, yeah.
Yeah.
You're just as crazy as I am.
100%. 100%.
I can understand when I am being more neurotic than normal. And hey, be honest. There's situations where I say to you, I might be feeling insecure right now, but this is how I feel. And then you would have to reply, or you usually reply, well, okay. So let's dive into that, and then
why are you feeling this way?
Why are you feeling that way?
What can I do?
What caused it?
Yeah.
What can you do?
And then what can I do to alleviate that? Because there is a responsibility you have to your partner. Yes, okay, not to the extreme where their entire happiness relies on you and their security and all that. That's their self-work. They have to work on their self-love, and their work on their own, right? We both do. Right. So that's always also a priority. So that's what we talk through. But then at the end of that, it's okay, so what can I do to help you through this? Right. How can we work through this together? And these are things I would never have been able to have these conversations, you know? And these are things I wish I knew. I wish I heard this from people, because no one taught me this. Yeah. I had to learn this through major failure, Yeah. And so.
But that's also what counseling brings out. Is
my therapist is amazing.
Right. Yeah. You've been keeping all this stuff dormant. You've been locking this stuff all away. What is it that's truly on your mind? Yeah. That you need to tell your spouse right now? Yeah. Because it's driving you insane. Yeah. And then, you also have to understand, though, that you are insane. We all are. Yeah, we're all insane.
And you know where that comes from? Our childhood.
Yeah.
That comes from that comes from our own traumas, our past, our childhood.
What we've been taught.
What we've been taught from our families, our parents, what we
value.
Yes, exactly. So the thing is,
it's a very dynamic.
Yes. And I think if you come into a relationship knowing that, so for some reason, okay, whenever I'm dating someone or I have a partner, I have extremely high expectations of them. And that's because I have extremely high expectations for myself.
Right.
And that's because my family had extremely high expectations of me. And I always had to be perfect. And I think that just comes with the being in the community, the Indian community. You don't want anyone talking negatively about you,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So we always have to be perfect. So,
But you self-identified that. So you got down to the core, to the
Yeah.
root of what the problems were, or where this was arising, where the value system of that was arising, and then
yeah.
you self-identified.
So anytime I see that I'm getting irritated with Isaac, or that I'm angry with him, or I'm like, why can't he just be this way, or be a certain way, or be this, or be that? Because I'm perfect. Because I used to do that. I do that to friends. I've done that to my past partners. I've done that to friends. Yeah. So I'm like, why can't you just be perfect? Why can't you just do this? And then but if you dehumanize them. So if you come into a relationship expecting them to be perfect and never make any mistakes or never get triggered by anything, or you know what I mean? They just as I have a past and I had traumas and messed up family relationships and whatever the hell it is. He has those too.
Yeah.
And so do your friends, and so do your loved ones, so does everyone. And that's just life. That's just how it works.
Life, yeah.
And if you choose not to learn about them, learn about those traumas, learn about their past,
Learn about their insecurities.
and see where all of that's coming from, then you're gonna really have
You're gonna have a hard time.
Well,
because then you don't truly know that person.
Yeah.
You thought you knew him, maybe,
Yeah.
because I created an image of you as being a perfect being in my head, and then now you're human, making all these human mistakes. How can I love someone that
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you put someone on a pedestal, which I've done numerous times.
And then they just fall off.
And they fall off over and over again, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
This person is not who I thought they were. Then you start labeling them, And it's like
they're lazy. They're slobs.
Yeah. And that's the thing. No one should be put up on a pedestal. We're all on the same level. We're all on the same boat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that goes for any relationship.
Well, we're all on our own journeys.
Yes.
We're
all learning.
Even though we're married, even though our lives have been intertwined together, I still have my own journey to go and explore and to learn about life, and so
About yourself.
and about myself, and so do you. And you got to respect each other's journey.
Exactly. So that was kind of the point of coming on here. I just wanted to. I don't want everyone to think I'm just like pro-divorce and that's the only option. And I just think it's a really serious decision to make. And I think therapy is highly, highly recommended. Learning how to communicate with each other
would be first and foremost.
Yes, exactly.
Talk about the things that you don't like about each other.
Exactly.
Or talk about the things that drive you crazy.
Yeah. And it's not easy. Look, divorce is not easy. Both my ex and I had to deal with people talking about us, rumors and whatever else. And yeah, I mean, you do grow thick skin, right? Thick skin. You do.
That's the expression.
But along that what was that?
But
You do, but it's hard.
It's
It's
hard,
still hard. I still, oh my God, Isaac had to deal with me constantly talking about my ex, and sometimes still, 'cause he was a great love of mine, will always be. Not easy for him to hear,
Nope.
but it's a reality, and it's not easy to heal from. It's not easy to heal from, and it doesn't matter whatever, and it's also traumatizing to the families. It's hard on them.
They fall in love with
The-
their significant other.
Yes, and
their family themselves. And
absolutely, and they become family to each
then
other.
Cut their tie, and
It's hard, dude,
you can't expect them to cut their tie.
to cut that tie with them too, and you kind of hope they would to make it easier on you, but that's also very narcissistic and selfish.
Narcissistic.
And selfish, which I absolutely was before. I claim, I will absolutely own that I was a narcissist in my last relationship. But yeah, and that's like some of the hard stuff that you have to look at yourself.
Yeah.
And hard stuff that you have to own up to and say that I was a freaking shitty ass person, and I was. But I thank God.
Yeah.
What'd you get to say?
Well, we're all on our own journey. You know,
He was pretty shitty too. So
you're in a
you guys,
different part
he's not
of
owning
that.
up to it. But
No, I'm not saying I wasn't I wasn't a bad person. I don't know, just like
you're not a bad person. We just did some really
yeah,
shitty things,
we
and
did
that
shitty
was
things.
very.
But that doesn't make us a shitty. That doesn't make us shitty.
No,
people.
I'm not a shitty person.
You're not a shitty person.
Definitely not.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no.
It's
I'm not a
like you
shitty
were-
person. I was a narcissist,
You
but
were
I
more
did.
narcissistic than you are now. We all
are to a certain extent. Okay,
Yeah.
this is very true.
Yeah.
But I did the best that I could with the knowledge and experience that I had at that time.
And usually that's not a lot.
And that was not a lot. And that was not a lot. And I did it. You're right. And because of all my life literally falling apart, I had to learn. And all that pain, all of that. Like I had to learn so much about myself, about what I did wrong, about why I was doing those things in the first place. You know, and I don't know. It's just been such a spiritual journey for me. And I'm not saying that it will be for everyone, but I was determined to learn. I was determined to heal myself. I was determined to be the best version of myself. So I was seeking out that knowledge. I was seeking out those experiences.
Right.
I was seeking out ways to be that better person.
And that's a path that led you on to, you know, traveling, finding yourself.
Travel had a lot to do with it, exploring. And that's why I wanted to
books,
reading. Oh my God, I've never read before. You know, like I hated reading in high school and whatever. But now it's so important. I've learned so much through other people who have experienced similar things. You know what I mean? Other people. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a real blessing.
Hard life.
It's hard. But it is the happiest I've ever been, and it has nothing to do with Isaac. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, no, it
has everything to do with it.
Honestly, it has so much to do with me doing the work on myself and healing. And you can do that with a partner. Your partner now, if that partner is also willing to grow and change and is open to...
You're never going to change me.
Doing the work, right? And they have to also see their own faults. They have to be open to hearing it. It's not easy to hear someone call you out. And it's not easy to call yourself out. And that usually comes from someone else calling you out. And you being open to hearing it.
Right.
Right? So, yeah.
It's about having an open mind.
Yes.
I think.
An open mind.
Divorce is not always the option. And
yeah.
you have to really look at yourself in the mirror and see why you're making some of these decisions. And then, you know, if push comes to shove and that's the decision you want to make, own up to it.
Yeah, and that's okay too.
And do it, and then see what happens.
I mean, you'll have there'll always be consequences to every decision you make. Yeah,
right.
There are pros and cons.
Quans.
There are pros and cons. Cons to everything. Every decision you make, consequences. There will always be consequences, and I had to deal with them. Still do.
So many quans.
Shut up, you ass. Anyway, yeah, so I just wanted to get on here. I just feel like I've learned so much through my experiences, and I really, really want to be able to help other people in our community who maybe don't have people who talk about this stuff openly, because this is important. This is important stuff that I wish I heard. I really do. So I hope this helps people out there. I don't know if it did, or maybe this is really boring. I'm not really sure, but
really long conversation.
Really long. It's already 20 something minutes. But anyway, I really am wishing all of you the best and sending you guys lots of love. I hope this helps. Bye bye. Oh my God, look at that. Okay, anyway, bye.
Bye.